because some.
All right, let's start off by saying Barak Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ruchak Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Just Teach the Word. Just teach the word, basically. Let me know if you can hear. You know, you brothers out there, let me know if you can hear. Because it sounded a little low. Just want to make sure that we good. You know, but just teach the word, man. You know, teach the word. Call to water. All right, the water, bro. So this is pretty much is a lesson that was inspired by a video I was just watching. Elder Apostle just put up. We are not. Well, actually, put it up last night. We are not entertainites. You know, and pretty much, you know, as I was listening to it, you know, I started thinking about, you know, pretty much the kingdom of heaven and the whole concept of the kingdom of heaven. So kind of built a lesson through the spirit around that. So I have some precepts I have written down, which Lord is what we're going to get into. Just see how the spirit flows with it. But the first scripture I would like to go to, because it keeps like playing in my head over and over again, is in the book of Amos, chapter 3. And you know, these guys, they see Jake, when Jake gets into something, pretty much they just, you know, I'll just dealing with the truth. You know, they want to all just come together just because we're Israelites, just set aside the differences in the doctrine. You know, we just got to come together as brothers. And, you know, no, it don't work like that, man. You know, scriptures say here, Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? So you can't walk together unless you agree. You can't sit there and have unity camps and just, you know, brotherhood over breakdown. That is not what the Lord set us up to do. All right, because if that was the case, why didn't Yahushai, you know, just tell the Pharisees and Sadducees and them, hey, brotherhood over breakdowns? You know, let's put away all, you know, we just brothers, you know, all right, yeah, you believe in that, I believe in this, you know, this guy believes in this other thing, you know, let's just put all that aside and let's just be brothers. No, it don't work like that. It says, can two walk together except they be agreed? Let's see what it says in the NLT. Can two people walk together without agreeing on the direction? And the answer to that is no. Do two walk together unless they have agreed to do so? Right. So you can't walk together unless you're agreed. Matter of fact, let's look up this word together. Together. Yachad. The word there is yachad. Right? Union. Unitedness. Right. So a unity camp, or to unite, means to come together as one. And when you come together as one, scriptures say that we all should teach or preach the same thing. I'm going to come back to this. 1 Corinthians 1:10. These are basic, fundamental building block scriptures. 1 Corinthians 1:10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you. What is it talking about? Talking about the doctrine. So you have different individuals coming together with different doctrines. Guess what? That's going to cause nothing but confusion. Now, the scriptures tell us in 1 Corinthians 14, we're going to come right back to this, and 33, it says, for the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. This is why it says down at the bottom, 40th verse, let all things be done decently in order. And in order. Why? Because things were set up that way. This is how it was given, as a particular order, not whatever you feel or what you think. And, you know, you don't agree with this breakdown, so you're going to teach something else. No. Everybody has to be speaking the same thing in order for there to be some type of unity there. All right. Now let's look up this word confusion. The word for confusion is akatastasia, right? It says instability. Because when you have confusion, when have you have? I was just watching a video, little part of a video before I got started, and there was a earthquake in Russia, right? And as soon as the earth started quaking, this woman started screaming. That's confusion. She was not in her right mind. She was unstable. So when you don't speak the same thing, or when you're in a confused state, this instability there. The Lord is not dealing with instability. The Lord is dealing with stability, being stable, being of a sound doctrine. And what is a sound doctrine? We're supposed to be preaching about the kingdom of heaven. We're not supposed to be debating each other about, about BS. We're not supposed to be debating each other about, manuscripts and all that. The Lord said, go out there and teach my word. And that's what we're supposed to do. But you got these guys that love that debating shit, and they want to just debate about every fucking thing. Straight up bullshit. Just preach the word, man. Teach the word. That's what we're commanded to do. So let's go back. And I know if we pissed off about this stupid bullshit, I could only imagine how the Lord feels about it. All right, so 1 Corinthians 1 and 10. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Yahweh Shai. And that's another thing. Some of you guys keep saying Christ, Jesus, and all this nonsense, even when you speak amongst each other. The fuck is that all about? That you all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. It has nothing to do with you being an Israelite. You have to be an Israelite, of course. You have to be a part of the elect, but that's not the end of it. That's part of it, but the main glue to this truth, besides the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, is this doctrine, the kingdom of heaven, teaching, the kingdom of heaven and what's coming. That's what we're supposed to be doing, teaching. So let's look up a couple of these. Let's look up this word. Same thing is, I don't know if it's going to be one phrase or it's going to be two separate words. Same thing. One word. Autos. Himself, herself, themselves, itself, he, she. The same. See, the same thing. So it could be he, his, she, themselves. But in this case, the application is the same. That you all speak the same thing, and that there be what? No divisions among you. Let's look up that word divisions. And that there be no divisions. The word division is schisma. That's where you get the word schism, schismatic. No schisms. See? It says a rent, meaning a rip. Metaphorically, a division, dissension. Yeah, because when you have a division and there's no unity there, there's instability there. So you got 50 different individuals coming together with 50 different doctrines. Matter of fact, let's go back to 1 Corinthians 14 and 26. It says, how is it then, brethren, when you come together, every one of you hath a psalm, hath a doctrine, hath a tongue, hath a revelation, hath an interpretation. Let all things be done unto edifying. What does it mean to edify? It means to build, right? Edifice. In the Spanish, edificio, which means building, to build. So if you have different people coming in there building something, and one person comes and puts a wall up, and the other person comes and takes the wall down, what you gonna have there? Nothing but fucking confusion. The word there is oikodomai, right? It says the act of building up, metaphorically edifying, edification. The act of one who promotes another's growth in hamashiachim wisdom. It's also in the wisdom of the Lord. Not with your different doctrines and your different bullshit, talking about petty nonsense. Preach the word, piety, happiness, holiness, a building, an example, the thing built, edifice. So it's the things that we're supposed to be doing is building. You cannot build if everyone is on it with a different mindset. You got 50 different, individuals that's building something, and when one puts something up, another one tears it down. What do you think is going to happen? That shit is never going to get built. You're going to be wasting your goddamn time. Just teach the word, man. That's what we're commanded to do. All this extracurricular bullshit, man. So let's go back. And that you be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. Let's look up that word perfectly joined together. Katartizo, right? To render, an example, to fit, sound, complete. See? When you have all these different, that's nothing but confusion. And people that's like the elder pastor made a point, people that's on there, oh, this, I needed this is beautiful. I'm glad to. These people are there for entertainment, man. They have no clue or idea what this is all about. They're here as spectators on the sidelines, cheerleaders, like to see a good debate. Probably got popcorns or hot Cheetos, as brothers in Dallas like to speak about. Probably got some, pop. Goddamn 2 gallons of some orange, no frills, water and sugar. Sitting there watching, oh man, this is going to be good. I can't wait. The Royal Rumble of the Israelites. That's not what this is about. That's why the Lord spoke about that. Let's go real quick. And a lot of these people that you see on these comment boards, they're full of shit. I'm going to just tell you like it is. Ezekiel 33. And if you get offended, then maybe you might be full of shit too. Ezekiel 33 and 30. And thou, son of man, the children of thy people still are talking against thee by the walls and in the doors of the houses. In this case, is dealing on the internet because they're in their home in most cases, or they might be on the phone at the job or at the park or something like that. But nevertheless, they're spectators, sideline spectators. And speak one to another, every one to his brother, saying, come, I pray you, and hear what is the word that cometh forth from the Lord. Yeah, man, this is going to be good. This is going to be a good debate. Come on, let's go, And they come unto thee as the people cometh, and they sit before thee as my people. Yeah, Shalom. Yeah, we the Israelites. That's right. Judah. And they hear thy words, but they will not do them. See? Because when you go to their pages, the men, dealing with the men, there's no edifying videos. You don't see anything edifying. They're not even doing videos. They're just lifelong spectators. That's all they are. Lifelong cheerleaders and spectators on the sidelines. For with their mouth they show much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness, right? Because they're not concerned with getting themselves together to receive salvation. Because this word is what leads to salvation. So if this word is what leads to salvation, what should we be speaking about? Things that lead to salvation, things that accompany salvation. Matter of fact, let's get there real quick. Just bear with me. Hebrews 6 and 9. It says, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, right? Because before this, what he was speaking about is those that have tasted the word and fallen away. They're going to be destroyed. It's impossible for them to come back into this, right? But the Apostle Paul was saying that to them because you do have those examples. But he said, but beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that what? Accompany salvation, though we thus speak. Yeah, because we speaking like this because it's happening. We see it happen. We've seen it happen. But we are not we're looking for better things for you. We're looking for a better outcome, although we're speaking in this fashion. So we're supposed to be speaking about things that accompany salvation. Because it says here, for the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work of and labor of love. And that work and labor of love is what? Teaching this gospel. You know? And it could be a hard road at times. That's why Yahushua said, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that are upon the earth. All right? Which you have showed towards his name. And that's another thing. The IUIC don't teach the name. Oh, there he goes. He was doing good. So he had to mention the IUIC, yeah, because you guys are going the fuck off. That's why. In that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. So what are we supposed to be doing? Teaching the word, preaching the word. Matter of fact, let me hit that right quick. That's on the list, but I'm going to go to it right now since we're speaking on it. 1 Timothy chapter 4 and 1. Now the Spirit speaketh, I'm sorry, it's 2 Timothy, my bad. 2 Timothy. That's a good one too, but it's 2 Timothy 4 and 1. It says, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Lord Yahushua Mashiach, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Preach the word. Supposed to preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. And that's another thing too. Some of you guys, if it's too hot, you don't go. When it's hot, you don't go out. When it's cold, you don't go out. You wait for you're a fair weather Israelite. You're a fair weather false prophet. All right. If it gets too cold, I mean, if it's drastically cold, of course you don't go out. But if it's bearable, if it's in the we've gone out in the 30s, even 20s. If it gets too crazy, of course you do an indoor ministry. But for the most part, in the winter we're supposed to be out there presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice. Some of you guys don't do that. Some of you leaders out there, you are figured that after you put in the work, we'll say 20 years or whatever, now you don't got to go out in the streets anymore or let the young soldiers do that. No, we're supposed to be doing. He that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. So we're supposed to be out in the streets till the Lord comes back. What did he say? Till I come. I'm sorry. He said, blessed is that servant whom the Lord, when he cometh, so find doing what? Doing the work. Spare me 1 second. All right. Salaki for that. I'm gonna read that again, but just bear with me 1 second. Okay. So it says, preach the word, be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. This is what we're supposed to be doing. Preaching the word. Teaching the word. Not, debating about, about nonsense. Teach the word, man. What's so hard about that? Would you guys just, you just get, so, you don't know what to do with yourself? Is that why you always debating? You don't know what to do with yourself? You're just sitting there like, there's a word for it. I can't think of it right now. Just so fucking anxious. You don't know what to do with yourself. So you want to just debate? Just teach the word. That's what you're supposed to do. The scriptures direct us, give us the instruction on what to do. Preach the word, be instant in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. That's it. But as it goes on to say, for the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine. And that's the key. You got guys out there that got pieces and bits of this truth, and then they added their own shit because they didn't like certain parts of the doctrine. It don't work like that. You can't just come into something and just take what you like from it and just add your own shit to it. It doesn't work like that. And a lot of you are guilty of that, taking away and adding, and the Lord's going to destroy you unless you repent. Let's go to this word sound doctrine. The word sound is hygieno or hugiano, which is pretty much where you get the word hygiene, which is spiritual hygiene. To be sound, be well, be in good health. Because the doctrine is healthy. That's why Yahushua said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Why? Because that leaven of the Pharisees, which was wickedness, it corrupted a lot of people. Because they weren't teaching about the kingdom of heaven. Just like some of you guys out there are not teaching about the kingdom of heaven. You're pushing your own will, serving your own belly. So it says of Christians, metaphorically of so-called Christians or Hamashiachim, whose opinions are free from any mixture of error. And this, you guys cannot say that because you have errors in your doctrine. You know, one of the major ones is the MOTB. That's a major flaw, a major error in your doctrine. It says, of one who keeps the graces and is strong, right? To pretty much to be in health. So healthy or sound doctrine, like when somebody is sound of body, meaning they're healthy. All right, sound doctrine, right? The word doctrine is didaskalia or didaskalia, teaching, see? Sound teaching, instruction, teaching. That which is taught, doctrine, teachings, precepts, not debates. Teaching the word. That's what you're supposed to be doing. And we're going to, get into some more precepts. So let's finish up here in Ezekiel. Wait for this bullshit to pass. Ezekiel 33 and 32. And lo, thou art unto them as a very lovely song of one that has a pleasant voice and can play well on an instrument. They love hearing, oh, wow, wow. Did you see what he said? That was deep. For they hear thy words, but they do them not. And they're not going to do it because they're just lifetime spectators, lifetime cheerleaders, sideline, keyboard warriors. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet hath been among them. Right, when the MOTB, which is the micro C, comes to pass, then they're going to know that they're like the Elder Pastor has been saying, they're going to be like, oh shit, Great Milsom was always right. But you're going to have some, I ain't going to mention no names, Oil Can Harry, that's going to be like, I always thought it was a micro C hip, moron. Didn't you hear my lessons? Oh, Lord. All right, so going back here, this word here is from the Greek katartizo, which is to render an example, to fit, sound, complete. See, this is similar to what we read about sound doctrine. To mend what has been broken or rent, to repair, to complete. So let's go back to put in order. So that is for the word joint, I believe, what was it? Speak the same thing, how to's, and that there be no divisions. Gizma, we read that. Perfectly joined together. Katartizo. That's to be perfectly joined together. How do you become perfectly joined together? By having the same doctrine, the same mind, no divisions. Has nothing to do with just being an Israelite, even though that's part of it. You just can't be just say you're an Israelite and y'all come together. You all have different. No, that's confusion. Boy, these motherfuckers are thick-headed. Like the Lord said, you are thick-headed. You're obstinate. But the Lord gonna soften that obstinate. He gonna soften that ass when he start pounding you, beating you down. The same mind, autos, mind, nous, and in the same judgment. Okay? So let's go back to that was yachad, together, all together, union, uniteness. So this is how you the unity is not just being an Israelite. The unity is dealing with the doctrine. Lord's gonna soften that ass. That's right. So it says Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? Let's look up this word agreed. The word there is ya'id, right? Ya'id, to fix, appoint, assemble. Right. If you got puzzle, right? You have a puzzle, 100-piece puzzle, and then you have pieces from another puzzle that you threw in there, and you're trying to fit those, they're not gonna fit. Even if you cut it, and you smash it in there, like you've done that before. Mash a piece of, because you mad, you're like, fuck, I don't finish this shit, You mashing the piece in there. Might have made it fit, but when you look at it, the aesthetics of it are not good because it's not a part of the puzzle. It's not the right piece that goes there. So it's not going to be fitly joined together. To appoint, assign, designate, to gather, assemble by appointment. All right. So that was the word agreed. Can two walk together except they be agreed? And the answer to that is absolutely not. So let's go to the first precept I have on the list. This is Matthew chapter 23 and verse 13. I'm just going to read two verses here. Matthew 23:13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, and a lot of you guys out there, you fit the wicked Pharisees and Sadducees, because the Pharisees in general just wasn't, just because you were a Pharisee doesn't mean you were wicked. You had righteous Pharisees. You had Pharisees that believed. The Apostle Paul didn't believe at one time, but then when Yahushua came to him, he believed, and he was a Pharisee. You had other Pharisees that believed. You had some that believed that who the Lord was, but they didn't accept. They didn't openly accept him. Inwardly they did, but outwardly they wouldn't accept him because they were afraid to lose their position, among them. Because the Pharisees back there had, and the Sadducees in them had things on lock. And if you didn't please them, if you went against the grain, did something that they didn't like, that you were outcasted, you were shunned, you were ostracized. So they were afraid to lose those positions. They were afraid, that their seat in the synagogue was going to be taken, that they were going to be put out, because that's what they did. And they would label certain individuals that were heretics, they would label them heathens. Why do you think they call Yahushua? Have we not said you have a devil? Thou art a Samaritan and thou hast a devil? Why do you think they call him a Samaritan? Because you had a lot of outcasts, a lot of those that were ostracized and considered to be apostates that were Israelites that fled to Samaria for refuge. You could read some of that history in the Josephus, where they were ostracized pretty much, and they fled into Samaria because even though they were heathens in Samaria, they were still to a certain degree keeping the laws. They had they had their own setup. As when you go back into the book of 2 Kings 17th chapter, there was an actual one Levite priest that went there and taught them how to keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Because prior to that, and it tells you that even after he taught them, that they still will continue to worship their gods. But prior to that, before the Levite priests went there, them lions was tearing their ass up. So it says, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, right? And that's what a lot of you guys do. You're shutting up the kingdom of heaven and pushing people into that stupid demonic debating, entertainment circuit. It says, "For you neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in." Right, because all of you individuals out there with all these different doctrines, differences in the doctrine, you're pushing out a spirit of confusion out there. But you're working indirectly for the Most High, or you're working directly for the Most High, should I say? Because there are individuals out there that the Most High does not want. And back in the days, it was the truth was like, the truth is still, well, the truth is a lot more precious now, but the truth back then was more, should I say, readily available, more in a purer form, because you didn't have so many divisions, you didn't have so many different doctrines, so many different beliefs among different camps, and then the when you will go online and go to Google or go to the different search engines and type in certain information, it will come right up, boom, 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 boom. Now there's a lot of redirection, a lot of gimmicks, a lot of disinformation, and that's the same thing going on in the truth right now. You have a lot of individuals with a lot of different doctrines and different opinions, that have leaked into the truth and causing nothing but mass confusion. But it's beautiful because it all has to happen that way. Yahushua said, "It is impossible, but that offenses must come. But woe unto him by whom the offense cometh." So now we jump down to the 15th verse. "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, you make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves." So, matter of fact, let's see what it says in the NLT for that particular scripture. It says, "What sorrow awaits you, teachers of religious law, and you Pharisees, hypocrites! For you cross land and sea to make one convert, and then you turn that person into twice the child of hell you yourselves are." God damn. So pretty much, you make him worse than you are. You're already bad as it is, but when this person is learning under you, he's like a double demon. D and D, double demon. All right, so let's go from there. Let's go to Matthew. Basic, fundamental building block scriptures. Matthew chapter 10. All you got to do is preach the word. All you got to do is teach the word. Matthew 10 and 5. These 12, which were the 12 apostles or disciples at the time, Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, gave them a strict order, saying, "Go not into the way of the Gentiles, and into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not." And this is the message. We're not supposed to go to any nations, any other nations. So that should end the argument with these so-called Christians, but it's not. They're going to keep with their bullshit. Matthew 28, yeah, that's talking about the nations, is talking about the Israelites that were scattered among these different nations. But they don't want to hear that. But it's all good. "But go rather to what? The lost sheep of the house of Israel." Oh, you know what? I want to bring this out real quick. I was listening to this the other night. I go to this chapter a lot. But I was listening to this the other night. I think it was last night? And, we know that First Peter, well, pretty much the book is for Israel. But we know that the strangers in First Peter 1 and 1, in the book of Peter, the letters were addressed to Israelite foreigners, right? And here goes more proof. This is First Peter 2. I'll start at 24. "Who his own self bare our sins in his own body on the tree." This is dealing with Yahushua. "That we, being dead to sins, should live unto righteousness, by whose stripes you were healed." Right. So pretty much the stripes of Yahushua, we were healed. So these strangers that the Apostle Peter is speaking about are Israelite foreigners. Now check this out. "For ye were as sheep going astray, the lost sheep, but are now returned unto the shepherd and bishop of your souls." So you were going astray. as sheep. You know, now you're being brought back to the fold, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And this is what happened to those Israelite foreigners. They were lost, they were part of the lost sheep, or lost sheep. Matthew 10 and 6, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and as you go, preach saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So now it should say, and debate about manuscripts, debate about this topic and that and this, all this other crap. No. Yahweh Shai, as you go, matter of fact, let's hit the red letter on that. It's all red. Matthew 10 and 7. And as you go, preach, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So what are we supposed to do? Preach the kingdom of heaven. All right? That the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's it. That's it. That's the good news. That's the gospel. That's the message. Let's look up this word, preach. The word is keruzo, to be a herald, to officiate as a herald. Mm-hmm. So you can see what the word herald means. An official messenger bringing news. See? So the heralds are the messengers, the prophets, the teachers. It says always with the suggestion of formality, gravity, and an authority which must be listened to and obeyed. And a lot of you guys ain't listening to the message. You hear pieces and bits of what you like, and then you add your own stuff to it. To publish, proclaim openly something which has been done, use of the public proclamation of the gospel and matters pertaining to it, made by John the Baptist, by Yahweh Shai, by the apostles, and other Hamashiach teachers. This is what we're supposed to do. Preach the word. That's it. All that other stuff is superfluity of naughtiness. It's not needed. But when your platform or your intentions are different, somebody get rid of this clown, please. GMS South Carolina is scattering the sheep. His head is swollen behind views and fog. Shut up, man. You a dude clown. Go play in traffic. You know, so this is what we're supposed to be doing. Teaching. Not scattering. Teaching the word. Not all that extracurricular bullshit. But when your intentions are to serve your own belly and you have ulterior motives, you know, you'll do all this stuff so that you can get followers. So you can get people to come, you know, to you so they can give you money. Because you're doing this for filthy lucre's sake. You're not doing this, you know, for the sake of, you know, pushing the message so that you can be saved and the rest that are hearing you that may be a part of the elect can get the message and be saved. Matter of fact, let's go to, it's another one on my list. Let's see, where is that? 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 13. Matter of fact, I started at 12. Did somebody get that, devil? And you brothers are slow on the draw, man. All right, let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 4. Okay, he's out of there. 1 Timothy 4 and 12. Oh, snap, I see the brother put it up. Shalom, shalom. It says, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers in word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. Right, not all that extra gimmicks, man. You don't need all that shit. It says, till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Not all that other bullshit. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on of the hands of the presbytery, right? Because the elders, they saw, they looked at you, they taught you, they built you up, they put you in a particular position. So you use that position to teach the word. Meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. It says, take heed unto thyself and unto what? The doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this, thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. See, this is what we're supposed to be doing, not all that bullshit. Now, if y'all want to debate the MOTB, because that's part of the doctrine. That's a part of salvation. Because the MOTB is something that has to be identified so that you don't take it. Because if you take it, the penalty for that is death, destruction in the lake of fire, America. That's what you want. If you want to talk about something, talk about that. Debate about that. So let's go from there. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16. Okay, we finished with this, right? Where we at? Yep. Let's go to Matthew 16. Salakia. And 18. It says, and I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, edify. Let me see something. Oiko domeo, right? Oiko is house, domeo, dome, like, where you sleep at. Let me see. To build a house, oiko domeo. Right, see? Oiko domeo, which we just said, we just read here, right? Yahushua is going to build, right? On the Apostle Peter, which is the rock. And it's oikodomeo, and it goes back to the word oidokome, which is edifying, building, edification. So the Lord gave the Apostle Peter those keys to edify about what? The kingdom of heaven. So read it once again. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So that's what we're supposed to be doing, teaching the word. That's it. So let's go from there. Let's go to Luke chapter 10. The truth is not complicated, but you have those individuals out there that complicate it. And that's why you have so many divisions, and that's why you have so much confusion. But it's all, the Spirit of the Lord, because the Lord wants that out there. Because the way to the truth is very narrow, very straight. All right. So let's go to Luke chapter 10 and verse, I got 9 here. It says, and heal the sick that are therein, and say unto them, the kingdom of the Most High is come nigh unto you. This is what we're supposed to be preaching about, the kingdom of the Most High. Right? But into whatsoever city you enter, and where the kingdom of the Most High begins with what? It begins with the Israelites. Let's get that real quick, and then we'll jump right back. Let's go to Luke 17. It's a couple of chapters before that. And 20, right? It says, and when he was demanded of the Pharisees when the kingdom of the Most High should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of the Most High cometh not with observation, neither shall they say, lo here or lo there. For behold, the kingdom of heaven of the Most High is within you. Why? Because you're an Israelite. It begins with you. Those are the building blocks. And then this truth is the cement, the glue, the tempered mortar, not untempered, the tempered mortar that helps build this truth. And what the Lord is doing is He's gathering through this preaching, He's gathering the elect from among these different nations and bringing them to His church, which is the building, which is the building of Yahushua, the spiritual temple. That's what we're supposed to be doing. Let's go back, Luke 10:9, and heal the sick that are therein, and say unto them, the kingdom of the Most High is come nigh unto you, but into whatsoever city you enter, and they receive you not, right? If they don't hear the message, go your ways out into the streets of the same, and say, even the very dust of your city, which cleaveth on us, we do wipe off against you. Notwithstanding, be ye sure of this, that the kingdom of the Most High is come nigh unto you. And what happened? You rejected it. And because you rejected it, but I say unto you that it shall be more tolerable in that day for Sodom than for that city, because you're going to be destroyed on a magnitude far greater than Sodom and Gomorrah and them back then. Okay? Now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of there was another one. Just bear with me. Acts. Let's go to Acts 28. Acts 28 and verse 30. It says, and Paul, this is when the Apostle Paul, they allowed him, because this was when he was sent to Rome to go before to go before Trump Nero, before he was beheaded. Right? It says, and Paul dwelt 2 whole years in his own hired house, right? Because they allowed him, they didn't lock him up into a prison, so they gave him like a house arrest, and received all that came in unto him, preaching the kingdom of the Most High. Preaching the kingdom of the Most High. Not debating with bullshit. Preaching the kingdom of the Most High, not all those extracurricular gimmicks. And teaching those things which concern the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, with all confidence, no man forbidding him. This is what we're supposed to be doing, teaching the word. That's it. All right, let's go from there to Matthew 6 and 33. It's what Yahushua said, once again in the red. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Right, some of you guys don't believe that. That's why you get into all these gimmicks and money-making schemes. Because you don't believe that the kingdom of heaven is coming with a reward. That your sacrifices out there on the streets are going to be rewarded. This is why you got to do all that extra stupid bullshit to make money. And if you're a true teacher, your congregation is supposed to take care of you. You don't have to go through all those hula hoops, to fire hula hoops, jumping through hula hoops on fire to make money, to come up with all different kind of elaborate schemes to sell all this different merchandise to make your money off the congregation. All these stupid gimmicks. And and a lot of these guys know that the majority of these jakes out here are bugged out. So they use that to their advantage. That's what the scriptures speak about. Don't do this for filthy lucre's sake. And a lot of you are doing this for filthy lucre's sake because you serve mammon. You don't serve the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Okay. Now, let's go to Matthew chapter 13. And verse 9. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear, because not every Israelite is going to get this. And the disciples came and said unto, and that's another thing. Some of you out there, you want to just you want to save all Israel. The Most High ain't saving all Israel. Why? Because you're doing your own thing. Because you know more numbers equal more money, especially when you can get women involved. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. So that all we got to do is preach the word. The word is going to do the rest. The Lord is going to do the rest. That's it. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. That's right. Now let's go from there. Let's go to let's see what let's go to the 31st verse. Just bear with me. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like to a grain of mustard seed, which a man took and sowed in his field, which indeed is the least of all seeds, but when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs, and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof. Right, and that's what this word is. It's a seed. It started very small, and it's spread. How did it spread? Through the use of the internet. All right, let's go to Matthew 24 and 14. This is the vehicle. The internet is the vehicle that pushed, the word out there. That's why you see the truth, the Hebrew Israelite truth being taught worldwide. Matthew 24 and 14. You don't need gimmicks. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. See? And how is that going to happen? Through the internet, the unicorn horn. You can read Psalms, the 19th chapter. You can read 2nd Ezra 6 and 20. You can read Deuteronomy 33 with Joseph and Ephraim and Manasseh using the horns of the unicorn to gather the people. All you got to do is teach the word, man. No gimmicks. All right, so let's jump. Let's go back to Matthew 13. And let's jump to the 47th verse. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. And that's what's got. So this truth gathers unsavory characters. It gathers the most beautiful spirits, and it gathers the most unsavory spirits. My goodness. I mean, I think I've seen the worst ninjas in the truth than even in the world. Right? It says, so shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. And that's what we're seeing right now. The Lord is cleaning house. He's cleaning house, man. And shall cast him into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. And you guys out there are fucking worried about some goddamn debate. You should just be teaching the word. That's it. The Lord is throwing individuals out left and right. Because he's severing, he's sifting the house of Israel. Which shows that you guys don't fear the Lord. All right, so let's go from there to the book of Luke 19. We're almost done. Luke 19. Matter of fact, let me go here. Did I have it on here? No. Luke 19 and 11. We're going to read quite a few verses here. It's a parable of money usage because this truth is money. And this truth was given to us. This money was given to us. And this money was given to us to do a trade. All right? So it says, Luke 19:11. And as they heard these things, he added and spake a parable because he was nigh to Jerusalem and because they thought that the kingdom of the Most High should immediately appear. This is what we're supposed to preach. The gospel, the good news, is the kingdom of heaven, which is this word, which resides in the Israelites. So all Israelites are part of the kingdom of heaven, but not all Israelites are going to make it on this side, on this round. Only the elect. And then the ones that don't make it on this side are going to come back through the elect. That's the mercy of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai. Because, let's go real quick, because you got clowns out there saying that two-thirds are just going to die. They're going to be either gone forever or they're going to be, burning in hell somewhere for eternity. It's like, goddamn, the Most High, as great and powerful as the Most High is, he could be merciful, but you in your weak state, low degenerate state that you're in, you can't have mercy. You shall have judgment without mercy that showed no mercy. Romans 4:16. Therefore it is of faith that it might be by grace, to the end the promise that was made to Abraham might be sure to all the seed. What seed? The seed of the nation of Israel. Not to that only which is of the law, but to that also which is of the faith of Abraham, who is the father of us all. Right. So the promise is made sure to all of the seed. So all Israel shall be saved. Because the scriptures say in the kingdom of heaven, thy people shall be all righteous. And the reason why Jake is going off right now is because the Lord got the spirit on him to go off. Because he's making a point. This is his movie. And when he destroys them, he's going to bring them back because he promised Abraham that in him and his seed shall be as stars of heaven for innumerable multitude. Those spirits that are in the people that are going to be, the Israelites that are here that are going to be destroyed, are going to come back through the ones that make it. Because those spirits are not going to be destroyed. They're all part of the Most High. Yep. Galatians 3:17 NLT. This is what I am trying to say. The agreement the Most High made with Abraham could not be canceled for 30 years after, when the Most High, I missed, precepts going up. But y'all get the idea. So let's go from there. Let's go back to Luke 19. Because they thought the kingdom of heaven should immediately appear. 19 and 12. He said, therefore, a certain nobleman went into a far country to receive for himself a kingdom and to return. Just dealing with Yahweh Shai. And he called his 10 servants, right, which goes also to the 10 virgins, and delivered them 10 pounds, which is this truth. Each man has a certain weight, a certain amount of money that was given to him. That's why I said, if any man prophesy, let him prophesy as the ability that was given to him of the Lord. And said unto them, occupy till I come, meaning work. What is the work? Teaching this word. Not all that extracurricular bullshit. Pragmatu yomahi. It says to be occupied in anything, to carry on a business, to carry on the business of a banker or a trader. See? Because this truth, these words in this book, this is the money. And the world out here, that is the spiritual stock exchange. And you're casting your money out there, putting your money on these different, stocks. And the ones that are the Lord's, the Lord is going to make sure that they come into this, and they'll build up from that money that was invested in them by your labors. Going back. So occupy till I come. But his citizens hated him and sent a message after him saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. And this right here is what the book of St. John, the first chapter, when it says he came to his own accepted him not, the people of his city where he grew up around, because they didn't respect him. That's why he said a prophet is without honor except for in his own country, because they'll give the prophet honor, but when he comes from his own country, the city where he was born in, they're not going to receive him. Because I mean, I remember you was getting into all kind of trouble. You did so and so and such and such. You ain't no prophet. And it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, then he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. So it's about gaining. It's about increasing. It's about growing. If you're not gaining, if you're not increasing, if you're not growing, something is wrong. The Lord is not dealing with stagnation. The Lord is not dealing with napkin brothers. Salaki, 1 minute. All right. What the hell? It says by gain by trading. So let's go. It's about gain, increasing, growing, gain by trading. The word there is hot. Damn. Dia pragmatu mahi, which goes back to the word pragmatic. Right. So dia is through, and pragmatuomai is occupy, through occupation. All right. Thoroughly, earnestly to undertake a business. To undertake a business for what? For sake of gain. No one out there in their right mind has ever invested any capital into a business without expecting some type of turnout, some gain, profit. Nobody. So the Lord gave us this money so that we can go out there and trade it for the purpose of gathering gain, increasing, making more money on top of that. Because there's no investor out there, no businessman out there that will get a stockbroker that has a bad reputation of not making money, of losing money. They're looking for the top investors, the top individuals that know how to invest, that know how to look at the numbers, on the stock exchange, and to be able to see the futures and be able to predict the futures and put monies into these different stocks to gain the persons that gave them the money more money. And those are going to be the most coveted, because other businessmen will be, oh, well, we got to use this guy right here, man. He's really good. Nobody wants to invest money in something that they're going to lose money in, unless they're a crazy person. All right, so it says, and it came to pass that when he was returned, having received the kingdom, that he commanded these servants to be called unto him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. Then came the first, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 10 pounds. And he said unto him, well, thou good servant, because thou hast been faithful in a very little, have thou authority over 10 cities. And that's all we have to do. The investment is just teaching the word, preaching the gospel, the kingdom of heaven. That's it. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds. And he said, likewise to him, be thou also over 5 cities. And another came, this the napkin brother, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin. For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man. Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow. And he said unto him, out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taking up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? Because the Lord invested this money into us to receive gain, not losses, not to break even. This is an investment that the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai made in us. What is that? 2 Timothy 2. I was thinking of something else. All right. So let's see. Let's look up the word bank. The word money is agrion, which is silver. And it's crazy because in the New Testament and in the Old Testament, both the word money goes back to the word silver. See, silver, money. Arguros, because that's where you get the word argentum. Is it argentum? Yeah, Argentina, which means silver. See, arguros, which is silver. Silver coin, silver piece, a shekel. Into the bank, trapizza, a table. See, a table on which food is placed, and eating plate. Right, like you go to the bank, you have the counter, the teller. You know, that's how they're doing business, trade. You either putting money in the bank or taking money out or borrowing money. Right. It says the table and also it's a place of eating, because this is a Proverbs and 9, setup. The table all furnished with the plates and the cups and the spoons and the forks and the knives and the lamb. Everything is to perfection. You got your gravy, you got your peas, you got your potatoes. You got everything. You got your yayan, mingled yayan. Got everything laid out perfectly, beautifully. And all the ministers of the Lord are doing is, whatever food is on that table, they're making plates, and handing them out. Boom, 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 boom. That's what we're supposed to be doing, teaching this word. That's it. It says the table in the temple of Jerusalem on which the consecrated loaves were placed, equivalent to the food placed on the table, to set a table to put food, banquet, the table or stand. Okay, the table or stand of a money changer, because we're money changers, where he sits exchanging different kinds of money for a fee, agio, and paying back with interest, loans, or deposits. And that's what the table is about, this bank. So the Lord wants money into his bank. And what is the bank that we're building? We're building up the spiritual bank account. Let's go to Matthew 6. And this spiritual bank account is going to be used in the times that are coming. Time of Jacob's trouble. 6:19, Matthew 6:19. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth or rust does corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Yeah, because you have some individuals that claim to be Israelites that's all about stacking. Don't get me wrong. Don't be foolish. Oh well, I got $100 saved up. I'm just spending it because the apostles and the elders said don't save them. No, that's not what I'm saying. All right, don't be simple. If you have a savings, there's nothing wrong with having a savings, but don't let that be where your heart is at. Well, this is what I got. 50 racks laid up, so I'm good for right now. No, don't worry about that. No, search for the kingdom of heaven, and everything else going to be added to us. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where the thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Now you tell me, an individual that has all kinds of money, he's going to be deeply rooted and involved in the work of the Lord. They're not going to be, the work of the Lord is going to be in the back of their mind. That's why further down it says you cannot serve the Most High and Mammon. Because wherever your treasure is, that's where your heart's going to be. And the thing with Jake, we were talking about this yesterday. I was talking to the elder in the bar. He said, the thing with Jake is royalty. So when Jake has money, they're going to spend it. They want to live that luxurious life. You build this money up, you want to enjoy it. You see? So we're building up a spiritual bank account by going out here on these streets teaching his word. That's why Yahweh said, because you have kept the word in my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. So going back, that at my coming I might have required mine own with what? Usury. The word is tokos, which is birth, the act of bringing forth. Right? Because when you take money and you invest money, what are you doing? You're bringing in more money. So it's like a birth. You're putting in money, investing it, and then the gain you get from that, that's the baby. Right? That which has been brought forth offspring, interest of money, usury, because it multiplies money and as it were breeds. Money breeds money. Matter of fact, let me see if that comes out. Let me see what I don't know. I'm just oops. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. I'm just taking a shot in the dark. Money breeds money, meaning must be something out there. The phrase money breeds money means that an initial investment of money can generate more money over time, typically through interest or other forms of return. This is often seen in investments where the initial capital earns a profit, which can then be reinvested to earn even more. That's what the Lord is looking for, pragmaticos. Those that are working, in the field, those that are gaining, the Lord, putting the Lord's money to use so he can gain usury. So it says interest of money, usury, because it multiplies money and as it were, breeds. So money breeds money, tokos. So the Lord said, man, you should have gave my money to the bank. Let's read that again, Luke 19:23. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have required mine own with usury? And he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound, and give it to him that had 10 pounds. And they said unto him, Lord, he had 10 pounds. For I say unto you that unto every one which hath shall be given, and from him that hath not, even that he hath shall be taken away from him. Right. So that's why you brothers out there, man, don't be lukewarm. Don't be having your hands in your pockets. Don't be having, sitting on your thumb, spinning around with the other thumb in your mouth, because the Lord, whatever you got, if you ain't using it, the Lord's going to take it from you and give it to somebody else that's going to be working. Because you got brothers out there that's hungry. Brothers out there that's laboring, putting their all into it. And if you got this truth and you ain't doing nothing with it, the Lord gonna take that from you and give it to somebody that will produce. It says, but those my enemies which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. Because the Lord ain't playing. The Lord ain't playing with this truth. But you guys out there, you treat this thing like this is your shit. Like this is like you came up with this. This is your program. You serving your own belly. Matthew 7:21. It says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. And what is the will of the Father? To go out there and teach. Feed my sheep, feed my lambs. Many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, Have we not prophesied in thy name? A lot of these guys know the name of Yahushua. And in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name done many wonderful works. And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. See? So, hey, all you got to do is teach the word. Just teach the word, man. What's so hard about that? It's not hard at all. But when you come with ulterior motives and serving your own belly, you get into all kind of other scandalous BS, bullshit. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.